It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And joining us now here, John, we have Peter Navarro, of course, who was the White House National Trade Council.
And he's one guy that tells it the way it is.
And has firsthand experience with some of the new developments today. Just a little bit ago, Steve Bannon, another well-known person there at the White House, just got out of prison. Peter Navarro, you went also, famously, unbelievably, where they stopped you at the airport in Atlanta, which was just incredible what you went through. What's your reaction to Steve Bannon getting out, Peter? It's great to have you.
Rita, John, always a pleasure. Let's put your earlier comments in this broader context. They call us fascists. They put Steve Bannon and me in prison. They bankrupted Rudy Giuliani. They took the bar cards away from lawyers Jeff Clark and John Eastman, and they want to put Donald Trump in prison for 700 years. And we're the fascists. Come on. I'm glad Steve's out. I'm sorry he had to go through 4 months, but I know he did it just like I did it, like a man, and we're back on the campaign trail doing what we need to do to elect the greatest president in modern history for a second act. There are second acts in this politics, so I couldn't be more delighted. And I couldn't help but hear you talk about that comedian. I'll tell you what, I can't find anybody in the Trump campaign who knows how that guy got on stage. I've never met him. Nobody knew who he was. And what pissed me off is that I saw Donald Trump up close and personal firsthand after the two hurricanes hit Puerto Rico, and I was assigned to part of the work detail, just work his butt off to get that island back in shape. You know, it's like people forget their electricity grid was almost totally knocked to the ground. And yeah, I was going to these meetings 24/7. We're doing everything possible. We threw every possible resource we could to help the people of Puerto Rico. And then this, I can't even say the word on radio here, even if it's New York radio. But you get my drift. I mean, that guy, it was just stupid. I mean, I don't like insult comedy except for Don Rickles. He was the best at it. But having that done in the last 7 days, did you see where Jon Stewart defended that jerk?
I did.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I
did.
Makes perfect sense to me.
I just saw that.
A pox on all of those heads. But I'll tell you what, let me give you some good news. I just got back from the campaign trail. I was with the boss for 4 rallies in North Carolina and Georgia. Did a bus tour. I'm going back in a couple of days to Pennsylvania for the home stretch. Here's what I'm hearing. It's very, very simple. It's a 3-part mantra. America is in trouble. Kamala Harris is responsible for much of that trouble. Donald Trump will get us out of that trouble. That's the closing argument. And I'm hearing that from everybody I talk to of all shades and stripes, young to old, and everyone in between. MAGA hats are like the new fashion out there. And if our supporters go to the polls, Trump will be the 47th president. It's all about turnout right now. And look, they're doing their job on the Democrat side. I mean, when I was in Georgia, Harris was there going to the black churches, talking black. I don't know if you've seen her do that. It's fascinating to me. She gets in a black church and suddenly she's talking black to black people as if nobody else is watching. But they were having bus pools at these churches go directly to the polls to vote. So we got to be doing that stuff just like they're doing that, just so we can get our vote out. But I'm very happy with what I'm hearing.
They pick up people with Alzheimer's from homes,
nursing homes,
and they take them to vote on buses.
John, I got to know, did you see Joe Biden on the way to the polls? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, did you see where he couldn't even pronounce her name, Peter? It was like Kamala. It was.
So, Peter, you know how the White House works. I'm not sure that Biden himself is doing it, but who's doing it around him? Who's calling the shots?
So the way this works is you've got the White House Chief of Staff, and you've got the four guys at the policy councils, the National Security Council, Economic Council, Domestic Policy Council. You got the White House Legal Advisor, and then you'll have Blinken over at State. Those are the major players here, and
they're the ones that make the decisions.
They're the ones making decisions. And the worst part here, John, and I'm telling you, it's like when Trump wins, we're going to inherit a whirlwind of bad economic stuff. And here's what's interesting. The same people who got us into this mess for Biden-Harris are the same damn fools who were serving Biden-Obama for 8 years. I know these people. I've debated them. I've looked them in the eyeballs, and there's nothing there. And that's who's running the show. It's the scariest thing.
It's scary.
I've
It's
ever
not.
seen.
It's
And
not
by the
Biden.
way,
It's not Harris. They're just puppeteers at this point.
Well, they're worse because they think they got elected. They're doing what they think's right, and they do not represent the mainstream of this country, and they are incompetent. And that's a very, very dangerous situation. Look, time's on Trump's side right now because the more people now get to know Harris as she has to venture out, the less they like her. I mean, I put in a plug for Newsmax's documentary, Blind Ambition. I wish everybody could watch that damn thing because it really exposes her roots with her father, who was a Marxist professor, some of her earlier forays into this wokeness, some of these quotes about how she's for gender.
Yeah, and Peter, you're right. You look at the history. You look at her history.
You know, the FCC, we got to take a hard break, Peter.
Thank you. Brother.
Peter, come back
we'll catch up
soon.
with you again real soon. Before the end of the week, we're going to catch up with you.
Thank you, Peter.
Let's take that break, and we're going to come back with John Solomon.
Yeah.